To wrap up our amazing week of everything tweens, hormones and puberty, we have some rapid fire questions that have come through from the listeners for author, speaker, all-around legend. She is the font of all knowledge for all things tween, Michelle Mitchell. I've got a bunch of questions. Are you ready, Michelle?
I love questions. Let's do it.
All right. Sarah in Werribee says, how can I get my tween to talk to me without feeling like I am interrogating them?
Okay, well, don't interrogate them, okay? What kids don't say that gives us the most information. We've got to get really good at observing. You don't have to know everything to know as a parent. So you have a lot of gut feeling that actually informs you. If you stay close enough for long enough, kids will talk to you when they're ready to talk to you. So we get obsessed with asking like the magic question. If you reflect back to a child what they've already said to you and then stop talking, just stop and let them feel space, and just forget the curious question thing for a minute. It can really help. So you might say, look, I'm really sorry that's happened. I'm so glad you've talked this much to me. I'm here when you need me. You know, we can work through this as much as you want to. I've got as much time as you need. You will be surprised how much kids open up when you're just there. So if you feel like they don't want to be interrogated, hey, guess what? My permission to stop.
Yeah, good.
Feeling very convicted at the moment.
Kel's got a question from, I believe it's Janine in Cranbourne.
Janine says, my child's friendships are consistently changing. Should I be worried about the drama? Because there is a lot of drama involved.
Oh my gosh, the tween drama.
Or is it just normal tween behaviour when it comes to relationships?
Okay, it's very normal, and it's actually really hard for tweens to maintain a friendship. So long-term friendships are actually the unusual, not the normal. And that's research-based, okay? So the hardest part is that we come with the expectation that our kids are going to have these long-term friendships and they're going to be forever. So I talk to kids about friendships coming for a reason and a season in their life, and that they're not like tattoos and they don't stay on them forever.
That's a really great, just knowing the research says this is normal, that's helpful.
And I'm sure Michelle's on top of this, but it's just actually unlocked something that I was taught a while ago, is that, we have a tendency as parents to treat our kids as fully functioning adults. And it's just not the case.
It's just not the case. Their brains are not there. Tam in Mooralbark says, my tween suddenly seems really anxious. So how can I tell what's normal, and when should I be concerned and take further steps?
This is such a great question, and it is difficult with adolescents, and we've got to observe over time. And there's some really great stuff by the Georgetown Behaviour Health Institute that I draw on. 7 differences between normal and abnormal teenage behavior. But I want to read something out. So sadness or anxiety after fights and friends with breakups, normal. Sadness and anxiety that doesn't correct itself or decreases in intensity after a couple of days or weeks, not normal.
Yeah, right. Well, see, even just that is helpful, right? Just to know that there are goalposts you can look for. That's excellent. Lisa in Malvern says, how do I balance giving my tween some sort of independence while keeping them safe and involved into the family life?
Oh, yeah, this is fun, isn't it? Okay, so probably a model that I use most when I work one-on-one with families is just 3 circles. I decide, you decide, we decide together. And if parents get really clear on who the decision maker is with anything that's going on in their home, it can really help avoid the confusion. So and make it like, where is the balance, and try and give your kids as much of the decision making power as you can, but be really honest about like, no, that's a decision that I need to make as a parent.
Yeah, I love that. And a final question I think we've got time for. Emma in Pakenham says, and this is, I mean, we could do another whole week around this, how can I help my tween build a healthy body image, especially when they're comparing themselves to everything they see online at the moment? Which is the age-old question, right? Like we're still having this conversation decades later, you know?
I'm going to come at this from a really different angle, because we've talked about a lot about this in media, but comparisons are so big at this age. Don't let them scare you, parents. There's 3 types of conversation our kids want to have with us. One is logical decision-making conversations. They're data collecting conversations. The next one is emotional conversations, how a child feels about it. And the next one is philosophical conversations. 70% of our conversations are, where do I stand in the world? And who am I in this world? And our kids float between three. And probably all I want to say to Emma is to consider this. Sometimes our kids need to have a lot of philosophical conversations, and they don't necessarily need to take everything to a therapy session. Like, it's part of their development
Right.
to compare themselves to the rest of the world. And just because they're in a size 12 and someone else is in a size 8 doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to need counseling for the next 10 years of their life.
Right. I see, even that makes sense. I mean, that's part of the human condition, right? We need to know that we will do that, but what do we do with that information once our brains have had those thoughts? And so they're great conversations we can have with our daughters instead of just shutting it down straight away. You can actually chat these things through. I love it. Thank you so much. Michelle Mitchell has been the font of all wisdom and knowledge for this week for our segment. Help me, I have a tween and they are changing. Where did my baby go? Who is this grunting child and can I give it back? I think it's a catchy title. You can have that for your next book if you'd like, Michelle. Honestly, you can copyright that.
Lucy, you're brilliant. Kel, you're brilliant. I love you both.
In all honesty, thank you so much for your time. All of the whole content of this week, we've talked puberty for girls and boys and where do babies come from. We're going to package everything up into a very special podcast edition so you can listen to all of this week's content in one easy place because Michelle is extraordinary. Her books are amazing. Jump online, give her a follow, find her resources. We don't have to do this alone, parents. We have incredible experts like Michelle to help us navigate these times. Thank you so much for your time this week, Michelle. We know you're so busy and we're so very grateful.
Oh, I'm grateful to you guys. Thanks for having me.